Hey, love. I'm going to speak truthfully and candidly with you today. And, just because we heal our hearts doesn't mean we won't ever get stuck again. But it does mean that you can recognize it sooner. Once you've started doing your work, you might get tripped up like I did, which I'm going to share, but you will notice it sooner. And you know what? If I can get stuck after all the work I do, and I really like to be honest with everyone because just because I do this work and I help other women does not mean that I don't still stumble from time to time. So I think it's important that those of us doing this work just continue to be candid about our experiences and continue to share. But welcome to the channel, My One Beautiful Life, where we talk about healing our hearts and thriving in this next chapter of our lives to create a life that we love and can get excited about, regardless of everything we've gone through. So, this particular video is a testimony and a teaching, and I'll be sharing, how I got stuck again in the trap that I didn't see coming and how you can avoid it. So, let me tell you a little bit about my own journey. You may have heard it already if you've listened to some of the other videos, so I will be quick. But, I've lived through some things that cracked open my heart. And that included the death of my partner, divorce after 23 years of marriage, and actually watching my dad just disappear before me before he died with dementia, and the passing of my mom from cancer. And so each of these losses took something from me, but they also gave me something. I gained perspective, I gained wisdom, I gained depth that I wouldn't have otherwise. Because after a storm, we are changed, but we don't want to just start building right away. We have to sit in the silence and listen for that still small voice inside, which may sound different, right? She might have a completely different perspective, different values. The things that are important to us after we go through some things tend to change. So, this is such a critical step. I just want to make sure that you understand that after we do that healing work, it is important that we sit in the silence and listen for that still small voice inside. And the truth is, I didn't pause long enough. I've added this step to my coaching program where we need to retreat, and I didn't do that. I didn't do it long enough. I didn't ask my heart in that moment, love, what do you need now, right? Because I was different and I didn't acknowledge that. I didn't acknowledge that and check in before moving forward. So instead, what I did, I moved forward as if I was the same woman, and no way was I the same. There were so many changes in me. Nothing was the same after the losses that I had experienced. So the misstep wasn't in moving forward. We absolutely want to move forward in creating a life that we can love, but it was in who I was listening to when I started the move. So I wasn't listening to the woman that I was now. I was listening to who I used to be, not the woman who I'd become through the loss and the healing, all the growth that I had experienced, the deeper self-awareness of myself, my experiences, and how I saw life. And so I was operating out of habit instead of from my heart. So I was operating from what I thought I should want. And I don't think I even sat to think if this was actually what I did want. It was just habit at that point. We've been doing things the same way for many years. And even after we do our healing work, we can sometimes get caught in that trap of operating from who we were instead of from who we are, and operating from what we think we should want in that moment and not what our hearts are truly calling for. And so that misalignment is what caught me off guard. That misalignment caused me to get stuck again. And I don't want you to do the same thing. So I'm sharing this with you so that you can avoid this trap. Because thinking that healing is the destination is the trap. We think we've done our healing work, we're good, okay, let's move forward. No, healing is not the destination. Healing is our invitation to now start again with additional information, right? Additional clarity, additional strengths and awareness. There's so much more that gets added to the pot during our healing process, that our healing is an invitation to start from there, not from back there where we were before we did our healing work. But when we rush to rebuild without that pause and reflection, we risk recreating a life we've actually grown out of. We try to recreate the life we had, but we just can't. That is impossible. That is putting way too much effort into something that's not going to work. It's going to trip you up eventually. So take that pause and reflection and think about where you are now and what your heart really needs and wants from this moment, not from before. And this is the exact reason I created my Emboldened and Thriving coaching program, which is a heart-led framework guiding women, especially over 40, through the phases of retreat. Go inside, listen to yourself from this point, this perspective, then release what's no longer serving us. Then we rebuild, right? Then we can rebuild, and then we can rise and thrive, right? So because we don't take that time to retreat and release before rebuilding, we end up creating something that just doesn't serve us in the new perspective and from the heart we now have. So this program was actually born from my own journey, my own missteps, and I'm happy to share it with women today because I want us all to heal and thrive, not just survive all the things that we've endured and gone through and learned from and grown from, right? But to actually thrive after. So the woman I had become after all the loss, the version of me, that version of me wasn't interested in the grind, the career building, the staying small and safe. She wasn't interested in being so needed everywhere. She craved and craves still gentleness and exploration and freedom and spaciousness, independence. But instead, I built a life that looked good from the outside, and it was very much in line with how I'd been operating before, but it didn't feel right. It just didn't settle in. I just never felt quite comfortable in it and fulfilled and able to be my full self in it because it was built on someone else, my old self. And all of this because I didn't take that pause and retreat first. And so that, beloved, is what will have you stuck again. Building a life that fits the past version of you instead of the healed present truth of who you are today. And the signs for me, when I started to see, okay, wait, something is wrong, was a certain restlessness, just not feeling the peace that I craved for this phase of my life. I was feeling some frustration with the pieces, the puzzle pieces just didn't seem to be fitting. And also some emotional clutter, just really not being able to think straight. So there were these thoughts and feelings, and I was bringing my old self back in, and also where I was now, they were all just clamoring for my attention, and they were at odds. They were at odds, creating this emotional clutter that was really difficult for me to navigate and to move forward in. So I had to stop. I had to sit and breathe and just say, okay, I submit. I submit. Heart, I am listening now. What do you crave? What do you want? What's important to me now? What is it that I want to create from this place, this space that I'm in? And when I did, I felt a relief. And things just started to flow a little better. So now, unfortunately, you have to undo what you did, right? You started rebuilding some things, and people get involved with that, and commitments get involved with that. Jobs, people, places, right? We make commitments in that space, and we kind of have to undo all of that before we can be really freedom to move forward from where we know we need to be moving from. So it's going to take you a minute perhaps, but once you do start that movement, once you do start that work of retreating and actually listening to your voice from where you are now, wisdom will come, and you will find pathways. You will find the information that you need to start recreating and creating a life that actually is from this space of healing. So, my love, when you have survived the things that we've survived at this point in our lives, don't rush into doing, right? A lot of times we feel good in doing. Healing is work, and it can sometimes weigh us down. It can get heavy at times. And so once we come through that healing phase, we're ready to just, okay, world, I'm ready. But don't rush into that doing, right? Your healing deserves space, not just to mend, but to start reimagining a life that you really want from here on. Retreat and listen for new instruction from where you are at this point in your life. Let your healed heart lead you, not your fearful mind. Say it again. Let your healed heart lead you, not your fearful mind of what you were missing out on, what you want to get back. No. What do I want right now, right here, from this point, from this honest space in my heart? What do I want from here? Okay? So let your healed heart lead you. And don't resurrect the old life just because it's familiar. You've earned the right to create something new from this space, from all the work you've done, from what you've poured into yourself, from this place here. This is where we want to recreate. So I ask you today, have you paused long enough to hear what your heart is asking? And then what parts of your life no longer match the woman you've become? And I'd like you to just share that information below. Let's gain from each other's experiences. I'm not the only one with ideas and thoughts and experiences. You have something to share as well, because your story might mirror someone else's that mine doesn't. You can help someone else throughout honest dialogue. So please share in the comments about your own journey. And if this spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Please share it with someone else who might need to hear it. And I'd love to see, is this the kind of content that you enjoy? Like it if you do. Subscribe even if you like the channel. But let's do this healing work together. We can rise together. We're stronger together when we build community and support for each other. And if you need some extra support in this journey, please don't hesitate to book a heart-to-heart discovery call with me. just talk about how I might be able to support you. At least maybe share some information and I might be able to point you in the right direction, even if it's not to any of my coaching programs. Maybe there's something else that I can help you, another way that I can help. So let's talk and just see if there's any way that I can support you in your journey. I'm committed to helping other women through this. We don't have to suffer in silence alone. We can work it out together. So the link to reach me is in the comments below, and I look forward to continued conversations. Take care.